removing children from school if they have already started at school before home education. So it's taking the kids out of school. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about taking the school out of you, because many of us have been conditioned by the school system, and it actually takes a long time to undo that mental conditioning in the parent and sometimes in the children as well. So I'll start first and chat about removing a child from school. So I've never done it, but the procedure is that you simply notify the school that you'll be removing the child for home education. You don't have to give them any reasons, like you're unhappy with a teacher or your child got bullied or anything like that. You just have to tell them that you're removing the child, and just be polite. And you just tell them that you're taking the child out of school to start home education. And then for their admin purposes, they do have to prepare what's known as a transfer certificate, which is the same document they would use if you were taking your child from one school to another.
Okay.
You don't need that. You don't have to worry about it. Just tell them they're going on to home education. It's always best to first join the Pestalozzi Trust before you engage with the school, because they offer legal backing to home educators. But the legal backing that they offer to their members, it's like car insurance. You can't go and take out insurance once you've crashed your car into somebody else. So you can't join the Pestalozzi Trust after you've experienced conflict with any government or education department official. So you have to join the Pestalozzi Trust first. But once you've done that, as I said, just write a simple letter so you've got it in writing that you're moving, and that's actually it. You don't need to ask permission. You are the parent. They don't own your child. And the constitution of the country says that the child's best interest must take priority in all decisions pertaining to a child. And as the parent, you are deemed to know what is best for your child. So you don't need to engage. You don't need to explain. You don't need to justify your choice to any staff member or school teacher or principal or government official or anybody. Just do the paperwork and keep it simple.
So the question that I would then ask is that if there is, and in consultations that I've had with parents, this has been an issue. There is a bit of bullying that comes, the parents are called into the principal's office and questioned as to whether they really believe that this is right for the child, and
can they really teach?
Yeah. It's and I think that the starting point for a parent is already so shaky. Your mind is being renewed. Like, okay, school learning doesn't happen in schools, all the time. And you being delivered, for want of a better word, of your sort of mindsets around education, and then to have somebody say that to you, it immediately undermines your confidence. What would you say to a mom or a dad who has now done the legal procedure or the notification, and they've had the pep talk from the school? What's your advice?
I think with the school, and sometimes you get it even from grandparents or your best friends, sometimes you have to learn to set boundaries and say, we have made this decision after doing our research, and we believe this is the best thing for our family. We know that it's not what every other family chooses, because, people feel judged by your decision to homeschool. Their kids are still in school. They think that you frown upon that. You just say, no, that's your choice. We respect your choice. We want you to respect our choice. And for the school people who think, oh, but you have to be a qualified teacher, you just say, I'm not qualified or certified to teach a classroom of 30 or 40 kids, but as a parent, I can manage my whatever number of children and teach them one-on-one. Other homeschoolers have done it very successfully. It's a model that works. So this is what we're choosing for now.
So stand firm on your convictions. Yeah, definitely. So one of the things I just said was, you having your mindset renewed about what education is. That leads us into the next point of getting the school out of us. How long in your life did it take for you to get rid of the inner teacher critic?
Oh, gosh. Probably 10 to 15 years, and I've been homeschooling about 25, But and you start out thinking, well, I know that I don't have to do the same as what's done in school, because we're going to homeschool and it's going to be so much more fun. But then you start, after doing it for a while, you start to wonder, am I doing enough? And what do you use as the benchmark in your mind to decide, have I done enough? You start thinking about what you did at school yourself. And it always feels like you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
Because as home educators, our days are filled with a lot of other things that count and are valuable, but because they don't come out of a textbook, we often don't count them. So one of the things you have to get rid of is thinking that all learning comes from a textbook and a workbook.
Yeah, definitely.
That's probably one of the biggest issues, I think, that we all have to tell ourselves for 10 years before it goes away.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else do you think?
Well, I'm actually just having a little inward chuckle. A few days ago on one of the Facebook groups, somebody asked a question, and it was very tongue-in-cheek, and she said, give me your worst homeschooling advice. So that she wanted to see the stuff that we all told, you know. And some of this, the responses actually show you how much our minds have to be renewed as to what is home education. And my response to it was, make sure that you fill in lots of worksheets. Remember, this is bad homeschooling advice. Make sure you fill in lots of worksheets. Keep your children sitting at desks and start your children as young as possible. You know, those are those are yeah. And I think that what happens in this process is that we feel like we've got to prove something to other people, particularly family members, kids. Maybe you've got a sister or a brother-in-law, and their kids are at the top schools in your town. And you know, so what you do is you start to put pressure on your children to perform in a school manner, to measure to some arbitrary standard in somebody else's life. And it's just a bad situation, really, it is. But we are empathetic to moms starting out, because we know what it was like. We were there, you know, and you had to kind of have a word with the inside teacher and just say, you know what, we're not doing school at home. We are homeschooling. We are building the character of our children. We are reading fabulous books, and you have to just take time to remind yourself of these things. One of the things that I did every year was I tried to read a really great homeschooling book, whether it was part of the Charlotte Mason homeschooling series or Corin and Björk's books, or Sally Clarkson's books, just to keep the vision of homeschooling fresh, especially when you've got a lot of input from elsewhere that's telling you this is what it should look like. So that's how I kind of got the school out of me. Anything that you want to add?
I think the other thing is that you have to tell yourself that education is not a race and there's no deadline. So your children don't have to keep up with other children, especially if you're homeschooling because they have some learning challenge. And there's no deadline for leaving high school or getting their matric. For some children, they can, you know, do their GED at 17. Some can do it at 19. And it really isn't that important. What you want to do is send out young adults who have been well educated, but who are also self-confident and know who they are, know what their weaknesses are and how to manage those weaknesses. And they know what their strengths are and their strong points and their talents. And hopefully they've discovered some interests and they are able to pursue those. But that emotional strength and that character, like you said, those are what make young adults successful. Not that they got straight A's or finished school before everybody else. It's not those things that set them up for success in life. And so sometimes you put aside the book because you now have to train the bad character that's been displayed, you know, a child who's grumpy or body language or got bad attitude in some way. And that is the lesson. And that counts. Maybe you didn't get the page of maths done that day because there was tears and drama over the maths, but you trained character and that counts. So it's making those mental mind shifts that, you know, you learn it as you go, but it's much easier if you listen to us and say, okay, it doesn't matter if we don't keep with the schedule that I had nicely planned and set out for the week. And, you know, and just to encourage other people. I've been homeschooling for so many years, and I still regularly have to complain to my last 2 children, like all the other children, to not procrastinate, to do what's planned. It's just human nature. And if you're encountering that in your home, you're not doing something wrong. It's just how we all are. We make our plans and we set our schedules, and then we have to change them because life happens and people have bad attitudes, or procrastination happens, or interruptions happen. And that's quite normal. You're not failing when those things turn up in your house.
Yeah, that's the true nature of homeschooling, and we have to make sure that we have margin for that, instead of trying to just push a school at home mentality. We burn out, kids burn out. Yeah, good points.